This video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and there's not a great deal to do today, I don't think. I just want to kind of point at some things that are interesting for today as we wrap up the week. Then we'll take a quick look at some charts and we'll put the focus on the deep dive and the members only video tomorrow. So as I'm sure you're probably aware, today there is some Fed meeting type deal, and the Fed is already kind of pre-warning people that according to them, assuming you are going to take their words at face value, based on the data now, they don't really see the case for a September rate cut. We've also got Polymarket dropping the odds of the Federal Reserve cutting rates in September to just 57%. And moving over to this CME FedWatch tool, we have now dropped from what was a week ago about 85% probability of seeing a cut to today we sit at about 71% probability of seeing a cut. Now my rule for this is 85%, okay? Whenever we see a rate probability of 85% or higher, I have always looked at that as cemented. I have never seen an 85% or higher reading and it turn out the other way. Okay, so if we're 85% in favor of a cut, then we will always see a cut, at least based on my experience. And when we're below that 85% threshold, like we are at the moment, 71%, okay, then that's when we can kind of get surprises to the market. Now, I don't know if between now and September this will resolve to 85% probability in either direction, but if it doesn't, right, if we end up with both of these prints below 85% going into FOMC, it will be the first time since I've had this channel. So we're talking over 1,200 videos, over 3 years of producing near enough daily content. And this will be the first FOMC we're going into where we haven't had an 85% probability in one direction or the other. So this might actually be, said another way, the first FOMC with no real certain outcome. So that's pretty interesting. I suspect the bond market will do its job and price in the outcome ahead of FOMC. Of course, we have got a little while to go. I'm kind of expecting Powell today to come out and talk tough, right? I'm expecting him to have hawkish overtones and for the market to complete a little bit of a sell-off here, at least based on the cycle low timing windows. But then I think it's going to get pretty interesting because just a couple hours after Jay Powell is done speaking, old Trump here is going to be making a televised announcement. And based on what we've seen from this man and his kind of talking up and down the markets and that kind of thing over the past few months, it seems only reasonable to me to expect Jay Powell to take the stage, talk tough, be hawkish, market sell off to complete that final downside leg into the cycle low windows, and then DT is going to come out and pump the markets back up. That's kind of my assumption at the moment, and I largely say this just based on the cycles. If we head into the Bitcoin chart, we are expecting this daily cycle to bottom any moment now. So again, maybe one final lower low to undercut this low. That gives us a repeat of this pattern from back here, 2 drives into a cycle low, very typical. As I showed in yesterday's video, we should get divergent higher lows on the DSS Brexit down the bottom. And then hopefully DT can come out and pump these markets back up. Happy days, right? Cycle low things. Also notice gold here, a couple of days behind, okay, but maybe one final sell-off, get into next week, and then it should be time to find a swing and a reversal and hopefully head higher. I'm still confident. I see a lot of top callers out there in the markets, but I'm still confident this is going to resolve higher. And the reason I say that is these miners are still pushing up, right? They're still making higher highs. So I believe they're leading the move, and I believe the spot gold and silver markets will soon be playing catch up. And the stocks, we've got a perfect move into support. Okay, and there's still plenty of time to get a kind of quick fake down, recovery a trend line, then we'll encompass the most recent lows using this trend line, as has been the plan for a long time, and we'll continue to push this long and look for places to add on the way up. With that said, make no mistake about it, Jackson Hole meetings have a history of seeing volatility arrive at the markets. Here's the VIX, okay, aka the fear gauge, and the last 7 Jackson Hole meetings. You can see most of these resolve to at least short-term volatility in the stock market. So expect some chop games and volatility as we enter this Jackson Hole time window. So expect some chop games and volatility. But now at least, given that it's Bitcoin that's due to bottom first based on its cycles, I suggest we put our focus there. That's where my focus is going to be, and also one of those crypto stocks in the level 3 members section. As Gel points out here, new year, same tricks, okay? We did the same thing, breakout, retest, double tap, move higher. And what have we got today? Breakout, retest, double tap, looking to move higher. Again, zooming out, there is still a little bit of time left in this cycle. This dotted line right here represents the end of October, okay, down the bottom. So we've still got time for a final push north of 150k to complete this bull phase of the 4-year cycle. So far, the expansion out of the top of the range is only 80% versus 264 and 1800% prior. So lots of potential room ahead. Let's see if we can find a bid from somewhere. And once again, I wanted to make the same argument, okay? I wanted to share some knowledge, some experience with you that I believe not a great deal of market participants have, especially if you're a crypto-only guy, okay? A lot of crypto-only guys believe that we absolutely need euphoria. Like, markets cannot physically top without euphoria, okay? And whilst if you go back over crypto charts, you tend to see most of them form spectacular blow-off tops, parabolic advances, and there tends to be a lot of greed and euphoria and emotions into those tops. The reality is, across all markets, everywhere, most markets top without any greed and euphoria at all. Most tops are actually sneaky. The big parabolic advance, the blow-off top, and the euphoria into that top is actually the rarest type of topping setup. So you will continue to see people make this kind of silly argument here, in that I don't see any euphoria, therefore we can't possibly be at the top, okay? We're just seeing this slow grind up, and therefore there is no possible way this market could meander sideways here into distribution and then quietly roll over. But again, it's the parabolic blow off top with the greed and the euphoria, okay, the Wall Street cheat sheet, that is actually the rare setup. We should all hope for that because it's the easiest to identify and the easiest to deal with. But again, it kind of shows the inexperience of many market participants, because we only need to go back to January the 3rd, 2022, to find a perfect textbook example of a sneaky top that occurred without any euphoria, without any greed and FOMO, that just quietly meandered sideways into distribution before entering a markdown campaign. And that's exactly what the S&P 500 did. It marked up, it quietly went sideways, okay? All through here, people were saying, by the way, buy the dip. It was only when we got all the way down here and we had completed almost all of the fall when people started to call for the end of the world and post doom fractals of 2008 and plunges to new lows. Then, of course, we get a violent snapback, 20% rally before it rolls over one final time. And again, everyone's cementing the facts that we're only halfway down, allegedly, 2008 fractals, all of that kind of thing. And of course, this is what put me on the map, because I was one of the few that was able to read the sentiment here and the bottom structure and say there's no way in hell we're only halfway down, the bottom's in, and that's where the whole melt up chart comes from. So I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I'm just simply saying I have been doing this for a very long time. I am one of the few traders in this space that has seen countless tops, and I therefore am able to tell you emphatically that most tops are sneaky, they're quiet, go sideways, nobody detects them until they're almost completely over, and then everyone flips bearish at the bottom. This is how the majority of markets top, and I understand if you're a crypto-only guy, you're used to seeing nothing but this, right? I get it, don't get me wrong, okay? But generally speaking, this is the rare setup. So just keep in mind, this argument is null and void. Just because we have not seen euphoria yet, just because I am calling for euphoria here as well, does not mean we're going to get it, does not mean this market cannot meander sideways and top quietly without anyone realizing it. So just be aware of that, okay? That's the hardest type of top to deal with, because needless to say, if you take something like MicroStrategy, okay, it doesn't take a genius to say, well, there's a trend line. Oh, look, it's getting steeper. Oh, look, it's getting steeper. Look, it's getting steeper. Oh, wow, we're going absolutely vertical. And then it breaks down and you go, yeah, okay, maybe we should sell. Okay, that's a parabolic advance. What are we going to do? What's the other option? That we just keep going straight up? That we start bending back in time, right? Breaking the matrix, all of this kind of thing? Of course not. Right, once it goes vertical, it's very easy to say, okay, time to start selling. It's time to start waiting for breakdowns and getting out of here. But of course, when you get something like this, it is much harder to detect. And that is why most people got this 180-degree flat wrong. So as ever, be open to all possible outcomes, okay? Take it one day at a time. Expect some chop games and volatility into today's Fed speak and all of that. Expect DT to come out and reverse the markets. Whilst my expectation is that Powell shakes us to the downside and then Trump reverses us, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the other way around, to be completely honest. I wouldn't be surprised if what we get is J Powell come out and be dovish, okay? Even though that's not my base case, it wouldn't surprise me if he comes out and he's dovish, markets pump, everyone goes, wait, cycle lows are in, here we go, it's the final leg. Then Trump comes out and says something bearish, we shake out, find that cycle low, and then finally reverse, okay? Either one would be totally normal and to be expected. As we often say with CPI and FOMC and all the rest of them, okay, look for up, down, right? Or down, down, and we finally will reveal the true direction. So I think that's all there is to say, okay? Hunting the cycle low for Bitcoin. Gold should show up in the next few days after Bitcoins, and then the stock market a few days thereafter. Expect some volatility and spikes. Still keeping an eye on things like the Dixie, okay, which at the moment is breaking out, especially if I turn on my TA. Here you go.
Okay, breaking out, found a cycle low right at the edge of the window, looking probably to move higher, but that's to be determined. And the 10-year yields still slowly but surely grinding towards the edge of this triangle, where we're then going to see a snap to the downside, I would think. So continuing to say tell that to the bond market, no real changes. Weekend deep dive tomorrow, members only video tomorrow as well. And until then, all the best from me. Cheers, bye.
Camel finance, he's the man to see. Rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame. Sticking to his guns in his money game. He's a badass, oh yes indeed. Camel